For my family, chiropractic is more than a profession. It's a legacy. For 3 generations and counting, we're living this work. The roots of my family are intertwined with the roots of chiropractic in Illinois before and during the establishment of the Illinois Prairie State Chiropractic Association and its first 75 years. First, a disclaimer. I am Dr. Kleinfelter, the 6th chiropractor in my family. Here I am at about 2 years old in my grandmother, Dr. Jeanette Nelson's arms. She was one of the real pioneers in our family and in the IPSCA. I was only 6 years old when she passed away, so this history of my family is missing a lot, even though I've consulted my uncle, Dr. Curtis Nelson, the 5th in our line and the only other chiropractor in my family still living. I've also consulted the daughters and friends of my renowned cousin, Dr. Norris Erickson, the 4th chiropractor in our line, and another pioneer whose story needs to be told. I'll do my best, but I won't be able to represent any of my family members as well as they deserve for their service to chiropractic, Palmer College, and the IPSCA. Our early chiropractic history begins with the day my father was born in Davenport, Iowa in 1944. His birth was traumatic, causing a delay of oxygen to his brain. Jeanette and Ray Nelson's baby boy named Willis had untreatable seizures, and the medical doctors said he would die. Instead, they took him to a chiropractor. He was adjusted and never had another seizure again. That supposedly terminal baby lived another 76 years. Dr. Alvin Erickson was the first chiropractor in our line. He graduated from Palmer in 1945, right around the time his only child Norris was born in 1944, just a few months before my dad. Alvin was married to my grandma Jeanette's sister, Lila. I'm only guessing that Alvin encouraged our family to get baby Willis checked and adjusted, which ended up saving his life. My son and I have witnessed that Dr. Alvin Erickson is recognized on a plaque in the prison cell-shaped memorial under the bell tower at Life University with other chiropractic pioneers who went to jail for practicing medicine without a license. Alvin passed away at a young age at the B.J. Palmer Clinic in Davenport, Iowa. Even though Alvin's stories may be lost, his choice to be a chiropractor was the spark that others in our family carry on. My grandmother, Dr. Jeanette Nelson, pictured here in front of her practice and home in Sandwich, Illinois, truly planted our family's deep roots in chiropractic and in the IPSCA itself. Obviously inspired by her son's miraculous recovery and understanding chiropractic principles, Dr. Jeanette C. Nelson graduated from Palmer in 1947. Not only was she a pioneer for women in chiropractic with fewer than a dozen in her class, she was also a founding member of the IPSCA in 1950. After graduating from Palmer, Jeanette, Ray, and Willis moved to Sandwich, where Jeanette built an extremely successful practice serving the community for more than 35 years. She was a well-respected trailblazer, balancing motherhood, community, and chiropractic in an era when few women did. To keep the family storyline chronological, I should mention that presumably, while Alvin was ill, Lila brought her son Norris to live with the Nelson family for his early childhood years. Norris and Willis attended kindergarten together. Lila attended Palmer to become a chiropractor herself, graduating in 1951. She and Norris moved to Michigan after Alvin passed away. It seems that Lila didn't practice for long, if she practiced at all. I heard that the IPSCA was founded because Palmer graduates were being unfairly denied licensure in Illinois. My uncle Curtis Nelson will share his memory of what happened to my grandmother and other Palmer graduates in Illinois.
Well, hello IPSCA. This is Dr. Curtis Nelson, former IPSCA member, now practicing in Redmond, Washington for the last 37 years. Wanted to share a story about my mom who practiced in Sandwich, Illinois. She graduated in 1947 from Palmer, set up a practice without a license because she didn't need one, and practiced for many years. Soon she got a letter that said, you have to take an exam, licensure is coming to Illinois. So she went and did that. However, she got another letter saying, well, you've passed the exam and your license will be on the way. But subsequently got a second letter saying, oh, we made a mistake, and no, you did not pass, and you have to close down. She talked with a number of other doctors, found out she was not alone. They got together, they sued the state of Illinois, and ultimately over years prevailed. And this was like Dr. Bob Coleman of Yorkville, Dr. Gene Judge of Peru, Dr. Bennett from the Waukegan area, and several others. When they signed for the settlement, which was getting their license, I got to go along with my mom, and I remember this big conference room in Springfield where everybody was there and everybody was pretty excited. I was 10 or 11 years old. I didn't know all of exactly what was going on, but I knew the essence of it, that they won. So that was a wonderful day. Have a very good convention. Congratulations on your anniversary, and all the best to you in Illinois.
Curtis also recalls chiropractors who were friends of our family who did not participate in the lawsuit disappearing overnight, moving to other states to evade the persecution and prosecution during these times. Jeanette had also received licensure in 2 other states just in case she ran into trouble practicing in Illinois. On a lighter community note, Jeanette was also known for hosting the IPSCA Christmas parties in her basement for at least a decade in the 1960s and 70s. When I graduated and began attending IPSCA conferences, the most common thing I heard from members who knew my family was that they met me when I was a young child at the IPSCA's Christmas parties at my grandma's house. Unfortunately, my grandmother passed away in 1979 from failure to adapt to breast cancer, possibly caused by standing in the x-ray room unshielded because the risk just wasn't known back then. Her influence carried forward into the next generation of IPSCA leaders. One of those who carried her spirit forward was my cousin Norris, who became not only a pillar in his community, but also an absolute beacon for the chiropractic profession. Upon graduating from Palmer in 1972, he initially worked with his Aunt Jeanette in Sandwich before establishing his own practice in Aurora in 1976. He created one of the largest children's practices in the area. Doc was a preservationist of our heritage. With Gary Street and Gwen Zarbuck, he literally rescued important chiropractic documents that had been tossed into one of Palmer College's elevator shafts. He earned his LCP and Diplomate in Chiropractic Philosophy not as credentials to display, but as commitments to live by. He was a fellow of both the ICA and of Palmer College. He was considered the chiropractic godfather by many. Norris was truly at home when he was at Palmer. He would point to the beacon every chance he got and dedicated a portion of the money that he donated to funding its light. So symbolic of his service to Palmer and to chiropractic. I've heard all kinds of stories from so many people. Many are fun, funny, and not necessarily repeatable in public. A past president of the Delta Sigma Chi fraternity painted a colorful picture of how Norris and Fred Barge could frequently be seen sitting on the front porch of the Delt House and certainly heard debating for hours. For years and years, many people recount how Norris would lead unsuspecting chiropractic students to the trunk of his car, not quite knowing what they were going to see when he lifted the trunk. He kept boxes of Stevenson's chiropractic textbooks in there. So many students received this book from Norris that he may have single-handedly been the reason it was still in print. I know my friends and I weren't the first nor the last students that Norris suggested skipping a class to go see something. One day he had the keys to the Palmer Mansion in his hands when he asked us, "Want to go see something?" After being sworn to secrecy, we got a little peek into the mansion's infamous basement. Norris also got us involved in projects and experiences that would otherwise not have been, we would not have known about. My husband helped Norris and other men scrape shingles off part of the Palmer Mansion's roof, while I got to wash walls in B.J. Palmer's office. We got a special and legit tour of the second and third floor of the mansion that day, something few people have ever experienced. But Doc's service extended far beyond our profession. He was a 33rd degree Mason following in B.J. Palmer's footsteps, a Shriner, and Norris was the George Steinbrenner of women's softball, with Erickson Chiropractic Center sponsoring an incredible number of winning teams in his community. Doc was commander of American Legion Post 84. He brought the Moving Wall Vietnam Memorial to Aurora. He also restored the city's 4th of July parade. When Doc passed away in 2012, something remarkable happened at his memorial. Veterans showed up, softball players came, Masons arrived, patients filled the room, chiropractors gathered, community leaders were there. Many in each group were amazed to see all the others because every single group thought Doc gave 100% to them alone. That's when everyone realized the magnitude of Norris's heart. After his passing, the IPSCA created the Dr. Norris Erickson Beacon of Light Award to honor those who exemplify his principles, passion, and purpose in influencing future generations. Doc Erickson understood the difference between having a job and living a calling like it was his obligation. He was chiropractic incarnate, living, breathing our philosophy 24/7. He showed us what it means to be completely, authentically, unreservedly committed to our profession. People just wanted to be around him. Well, Norris carried Jeanette's light into Aurora and fired up the beacon at the fountainhead itself. Another branch of our family extended the legacy westward. My uncle, Dr. Curtis Nelson, was an undergraduate in college when his mother, Jeanette, passed away. He continued on to Palmer and graduated in 1983, becoming the 5th chiropractor in our family. He returned to practice in Sandwich in the practice that Jeanette built, which had remained open and covered by Doctors Will Tickle and Pam Filer until Curtis graduated. After about 5 years, Curtis and his wife Artis moved to Washington State, where he established Nelson Chiropractic in Redmond. Curtis became passionate about activator methods, which helped him personally after an injury. He earned his advanced proficiency rating and became a certified instructor teaching the technique to students from all over the world. And then it became my turn to carry the torch. You would think that after all this rich history, with me receiving my first chiropractic adjustment from my grandmother at 3 days old, that I just naturally followed in our family's footsteps. But with my grandmother passing when I was so young and my uncle moving away, somehow I hadn't learned about what chiropractic really is. I graduated with a degree in elementary education in 1995 and married my husband Mark the same year. I thought I had my future figured out when just a few months later I fell ill, nearly bedridden with debilitating pain and fatigue. I spent the next 2 years like this, being frustrated by medical doctors telling me they couldn't find anything wrong and prescribing drugs that didn't help anything anyway. I started seeing Norris regularly for care during this time. His diversified adjustments were the only thing that relieved any symptoms, but the symptoms would return after a couple of hours. Still, I was grateful for any relief. On one office visit, I was telling Norris that one of the doctors diagnosed me with chronic fatigue syndrome, and in the same breath, the doctor said, "But I don't really believe in that." Norris's reply to me was, "It doesn't matter what they name it. If your brain and nerves worked right, your body would work right." It's unlikely that that was the first time he tried to tell me this, but it definitely was the first time I really heard it. My mother was there too, as I couldn't even drive myself. Norris looked at her and said, "I'm surprised none of your daughters decided to be a chiropractor." This was the day that turned my life around. As soon as I got home, I started to research what it took to be a chiropractor. In my quest to become a chiropractor, I learned about a study on chronic fatigue syndrome that Dr. Marshall Dickholt Sr. had done. Learning about the philosophy of chiropractic from Norris made me want to be a chiropractor. Receiving NUCA care from Marshall, who corrected my atlas subluxation to the highest degree possible, which allowed me to hold my adjustments consistently, 6 months the first time, is what allowed my health to be restored to a degree that I was able to go to chiropractic school and kept improving from there. I was extremely fortunate to have both legendary IPSCA members as my mentors for a couple decades. I didn't realize how much of what I do mirrors the efforts of the generations of the chiropractors in my family until I prepared for this presentation. I would never claim to fill their giant footsteps, but there must be something in our family's blood or experiences that carries forward and inspires me just as it inspired them. By God's grace and on the shoulders of these great mentors, I've been blessed to build one of the larger NUCA practices. We've cared for patients from just hours old to people over 100 years old receiving their very first adjustment, and everyone in between. Not on the scale of Norris's work, but we've tried to serve our community of St. Charles, Illinois for 24 years. Our office has hosted the largest private food drive in the area. Norris showed me how important it is to feel at home at Palmer and other colleges and how much of an obligation we have to give back. whether the schools are perfectly aligned with our philosophy or not. So for the past 2 decades, I've traveled frequently to Palmer, Life, Sherman, Logan, Palmer, Florida, and even colleges that no longer have chiropractic in their name. I've gone simply to mentor students with a box of chiropractic books in my hand, not with Norris's flair of handing them out though, but with the same intent, to pass something on, to light a spark. Within NUCA, I founded the Student Affairs Committee and the Career Fair that connects students around the world with doctors who will mentor them. I've cold called, made connections, and done what I can to get NUCA closer to the classrooms and clinics at all of the chiropractic colleges so more students discover it and more patients can experience holding a complete atlas adjustment and living subluxation free. I've mentored associates, teaching them NUCA philosophy and practice building. These doctors now have thriving offices in Illinois and 5 other states, some with associates of their own. Most importantly, like my grandma Jeanette, I've been blessed to do all of this while raising a family. The credit goes to my husband Mark, who homeschooled our 5 kids and supported me so I could serve the patients, the colleagues, and the colleges and the community with our children right beside us. One of my most requested talks at the school is about balancing it all. The secret is simple. Give your family 100%, give your patients 100%, and give chiropractic 100%. I've never asked my kids to become chiropractors. I only pray that they would value chiropractic and stay healthy rather than having to discover chiropractic through their own health crisis. So far, 3 of my kids have declared that they will become chiropractors. 2 are already accepted at Palmer. Apparently the 12-year-old needs to wait a few more years. From Alvin Spark to Jeanette's leadership to Norris's beacon to nurturing the future generation, I hope you can see that our story is really the IPSCA story too. The IPSCA has always been about more than laws and licenses. It's about people, chiropractors who serve, who open their homes, who pass the torch to the next generation. On behalf of my family, thank you for carrying this mission for 75 years, and here's to the next 75.